Every day, we are constantly surrounded by infectious and potentially pathogenic microbes,
meaning microorganisms which cause disease. They are in the air, on our skin, in our food, pretty much everywhere. So why we don't get sick all the time? Beyond this, have you ever wondered what causes allergies? And what's the deal with vaccines? And how do those work? All of those questions can be answered by understanding how the immune system works. The immune system is an astonishingly complex set of tissues, cells, and specialized molecules which protect us from any foreign particles and microbes that may enter our bodies. And this series will focus on immunology, a study of the immune system.
Before we knew what the immune system was, and before we knew that pathogenic microbe exists, people were still able to recognize the fundamental principles of immunity. In his description of a terrible plague that swept Athens in 430 BCE, the Greek historian Thucydides wrote, "Yet it was with those who had recovered from the disease that the sick and the dying found most compassion. These knew what it was from the experience and had no fear for themselves. For the same one was never attacked twice, never at least fatality." It wouldn't be until centuries later that scientists like Robert Koch and Louis Pasteur demonstrated that diseases such as smallpox and plague are caused by infectious microorganisms. Thucydides' observation that people who had previously been infected were protected from the subsequent infection is an excellent example of what we call adaptive or acquired immunity. Although Edward Jenner has largely been credited with the development of the first vaccine, which was against smallpox in 1796, the principle of immunization or intentional exposure to a pathogen to avoid future infection had already been in practice across the world for centuries. A few years later, in 1890, Emil von Behring and Shibasaburo Kitasato discovered another element of the immune system. They realized that after an animal had been infected with diphtheria or tetanus, their serum contained a powerful antitoxin that if transferred to a new animal, it could protect it to future infection. This phenomenon is called passive immunity. Although they didn't know this at the time, the antitoxin they discovered was antibodies, which are specialized proteins made by the immune system that bind to specific targets, keeping them from being able to enter cells while also flagging them for destruction by immune cells.
When it comes to vaccines, it can be an effective solution against many different types of bacteria and viruses. That sometimes we take for granted the amazing work of vaccines in keeping people from developing devastating bacterial and viral diseases. But thanks to vaccines, because some horrible bacterial and viral diseases are considered and eradicated in some areas, but it is important for them to be continued to prevent some of these diseases from re-emerging. So as we discussed, vaccines can help our immune system be ready for all kinds of pathogens, including bacteria and viruses. Recall that antibiotics are specific against bacteria only.